We're waiting for an author, in case you're wondering what we're doing. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 authors signed in. We need an author here in the room so we can begin as a subcommittee our hearing. Mr. Santiago, thank you for coming. We'll now be hearing in the order of the agenda item 12 and then 21. Mr. Santiago, if you would like to proceed with AB 2150. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I do apologize about the delay. We were stuck in public safety.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. AB 2150 establishes 12-month child care assistance and graduated phase that allows for families whose income is slightly increased at the time of redetermination. Families currently are required to report within 5 days any changes to family income, family size, or activities requiring child care. This is a burdensome and unrealistic process to continue to go through. In addition, what we're looking to do with this bill is also increase from 70% state median income to 85%, I believe, state median income. And AB 2150 would protect working families from losing eligibility for child care within 12 months by eliminating burdenous requirements in reporting. I respectfully ask for an aye vote and have witnesses who will be brief. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Lori Furstenfeld, and I'm a staff attorney from the Child Care Law Center. We thank Assembly Member Santiago for authoring this important piece of legislation. We are agency co-sponsor of AB 2150 along with Parent Voices. AB 2150 is an extraordinary opportunity to address a well-recognized problem. That is, eligible families are taken off impacted child care waiting lists only to be put on them again because of unjustified reporting rules. To protect eligible families' stability and child care developmental well-being, this measure will remove red tape reporting rules that cause families to abruptly lose their child care. It will set entering income eligibility at the true marker of 70% of state median income and allow families to earn a modest increase of income while phasing out of child care assistance, so long as they don't go above the federal income eligibility limit of 85% SMI. Current law allows up to 12 months of child care assistance, but offers no protection against repeated redetermination and termination of child care during that 12 months. And that is based on 5-day reporting rules that apply to all families for any change of increase in income, any change in family size, or activities requiring childcare, and other reporting requirements that apply to families, such as if a parent is in school, or if a parent has a fluctuating schedule, or if a parent has a child who's at risk. These parents are subject to also quarterly reporting requirements. For a parent juggling work, taking care of their child, paying bills, participating in their child's education, and sometimes in school themselves, these reporting requirements are just another set of complex chores that they must attend to and that put their jobs at risk. Meanwhile, the children are ripped from the care of a person who's been caring for them, who they've developed this healthy attachment with, where they've been learning and developing, and then they're taken from this person, and now they're experiencing this adult-level stress with their parent, and they're becoming behind in their school readiness development. The reams of paperwork the current law requires also severely impact the parents' employers, the small business owner child care providers, and the contractors administering the child care subsidies. AB 2150 will help stabilize families and children and help parents become meaningfully contributors to the California economy. And it will also bring California into compliance with a section of the federal law Child Care Development Block Grant of 2014, which requires all states to offer a minimum of 12 months of guaranteed assistance of child care without redetermination, as long as parents don't go above the 85% state median income, and a graduated income exit from care below or a graduated income exit from care below 85% of SMI.
Okay.
And
We want to let the other witness have time to testify, so why don't we jump on in? Yes. Just move the microphone over. Yes. Thank you. Please introduce yourself.
Okay. Hello, my name is Nicoliana. I'm from Fresno, California. I'm here to kind of paint a picture to you guys of what it is to be a single mother, juggling 3 jobs. These are my girls. I have 2 daughters, Araya and Jaya. They're 8 and 4. And in a position for me, being a single mother enrolled in this program, you know, I'm very grateful. So looking back 8 years ago, having Araya in this program, I was excited because I wasn't able to afford private pay childcare or preschool, and going to school and working. You know, I was very thankful that she was going to receive this education. Fast forward 2011, I have my 4-year-old. Of course, she wasn't 4 then, but she's now enrolled in the program. And imagine having to leave your 5-month-old. That's already stressful, you know, going to school, leaving your child, and going to work. But not only that, having to recertify every 3 to 6 months is just so stressful and overwhelming. You know, sometimes to the point where I get anxiety because there's only one of me. And I'm juggling working 6 days a week and only get 1 day off. Having to gather all this paperwork, having to schedule doctor's appointments just to get a physician's report is a lot of work. You know, I don't mind doing it, but it's having to do it again and again and again when I just did it. You know, it comes a lot of stress. Having to ask my employer, my boss, for check stubs, and they get frustrated with me, and I'm just trying to stay out of the way and do my job, and having to request that extra check stubs, you know, it gets, again, overwhelming, and I get anxiety. So I think that, I'm sorry. Yeah. So I would just ask for you to take my story into consideration, because I'm not the only mother going through this. I know a lot of mothers who go through this, and sometimes I want to throw my arms up and say, you know what, it's not even worth it, because I get so torn in so many directions trying to handle these things, you know. And I just ask you guys to vote aye on this bill.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, because we didn't have a quorum. Do we have a quorum?
No, we don't.
Not yet. Okay, thank you. Others in support? Name and organization. Please come to the microphone quickly and just state your name and organization.
Kevin Aslan, Coalition of California Welfare Rights Organization, strong support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Robin Layton, Educational Enrichment Systems in San Diego County, in support.
Thank you.
Nina Boothie, California Child Development Administrators Association, strong support. Thank you.
Lisa Wilkin, Child Development Consortium of Los Angeles, in strong support.
Khadija Alam Javed with the Advancement Project, in support.
Lovepreet Kehal from Western Central Law and Poverty, and we support this bill.
Donna Snaringer with the Child Care Alliance of Los Angeles and Child Care Resource Center in LA and San Bernardino County, in support.
Alexis Fernandez with the First Five Association, in support.
Christina Figueroa with Parent Voices, in support.
Ruth Pineda from Marin County, Parent Voices, in support.
Maria Luz Torre, Parent Voices, San Francisco, in support.
Michelle Stolbarvensky, Children's Defense Fund, California, in support.
Kate Miller with Children Now, in support.
Jennifer Ostrowski, Parent Voices, Solano, in support.
Norma Iniguez Solano, in support.
Elia Fernandez in San Francisco, Parent Voices, in support.
Jennifer Greppi, Parent Voices, California, in support. Thank you.
Kathleen Martinez, Contra Costa County, in support.
Lula Hernandez, Fresno County, in support.
Anyone in opposition? Seeing none. Any questions from the committee? Seeing none, would you like to close?
Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. We'll consider this bill when we have a quorum. Thank you. Mr. Santiago, would you like to now go on to item number 21, AB 2631?
Yes, Madam Chair. Thank you very much. AB 2631 would remove the 16-day cap of a lifetime on CalWORK homeless assistance benefits and would instead replace it with a 30-day cap limiting aid to once a year. Currently, the program, as mentioned, would allow 16 days, but you're supposed to use it all at one time, and what we're trying to make sure is that you're able to use it sometimes during the year, because this would provide a better safety net for families who are at the verge of becoming homeless. And this is particularly important to me because in my district, I represent Skid Row, which has 7,000 to 10,000 people arguably living on the streets. And the ability to at least break that up into certain sections would allow folks who are on the verge of becoming homeless to be able to find a safe haven for a short period of time and then get back up on their feet. This would also remove the ability to only do it once in a lifetime to ability to do it once a year to date. So I have one witness who will be brief, and thank you, Madam Chair, for allowing me to present.
Thank you.
Oh, sure. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Jessica Bartholow with the Western Center on Law and Poverty. Just with a quick reminder that we have over 250,000 school children who are considered homeless in the state of California. That number increased just by 30,000 in the previous year. So we do have a crisis with homelessness. This measure is appropriate and modest to be able to address homelessness among the CalWORKs community, give them a little bit additional help for hotel vouchers to keep them off the streets. And we urge your aye vote. Thank you.
Kevin Asner, Coalition California Welfare Rights Organizations. The bill was enacted in 1987 by Assemblyman Eisenberg. That provide for homeless assistance once a year, and then in the recession it was amended to once in a lifetime. That means that if a person got homeless assistance in the last recession, and then they got a job, they got housing, and then they lost their job, they come back in the next recession, become homeless, they can't get it. It doesn't make sense. And also the 16 days was enacted in 1987. These days, in order to get a place, they look at your credit, they look at your Facebook, everything. So 30 days is a better time limit to find a place. And we thank you for your support.
Thank you very much. Others in support?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Rebecca Gonzalez, National Association of Social Workers, California Chapter in support.
Thank you.
Children's Defense Fund, Michelle Stoll-Parvensky in support.
Thank you. Do we have anyone in opposition? Not seeing any opposition. Any questions? Yes, Mrs. Grove.
Thank you. Madam Chair, I'm inclined to support it, but I think you have a drafting error, and I'm just trying to clarify it. Okay?
And now I'm grateful that your office had reached out to my office. The intent of it is the increase from 16 days to 30 days. And I think your office clearly pointed out that there was an issue with the continuing assistance, financial assistance, and we're not looking to change that portion of it.
The reoccurring is going to come back. Okay, great. Thank you. I'll move the bill.
Okay.
Yeah, and I appreciate your office reaching out. Thank you.
All right. Seeing no other questions, again, when we have a quorum, we will take the bill up. Would you like to close?
I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you very much. Mr. Cooley. And Mr. Cooley, you have two bills. We'll start with AB 1833. The item, is number 3.
Very good. Madam Chair and members, good afternoon. I'm pleased to present AB 1833. This is a child abuse sexual prevention bill. This bill would establish, we start with the notion that California since the 1980s has had very robust child abuse prevention programs. And our current governor in 1982, in the fall of that year, signed a $10 million commitment to establish child abuse prevention programs in every county in California. And it was really a release of energy type of bill. It permitted each county to develop programs that would be innovative, using the resources there locally to tackle child abuse prevention. This bill seeks to do the same thing in a limited way, starting with child sexual abuse prevention. We know we have tremendous problems in California with domestic violence, abuse of women, persons who have experienced sexual abuse as children having a long shadow cast over their lives, which hurts them but also leads them to hurting others. So this is a preventative bill. We know that 1 in 4 women, 1 in 6 men are sexually abused before the age of 18. Nearly 70% of these reported sexual assaults, including adults, occur to children 18 or 17 and younger. Other states have begun to focus on the problem of child sexual abuse, prevention and training, including New York, Maine, Illinois, Missouri, and Massachusetts. So AB 1883 seeks to address this issue by establishing an opt-in pilot program in up to 3 counties. So it's not the resources that this governor signed into law in 1982, but it's taking this counties as sort of laboratories of democracy, innovating local programs with interested people to try to figure out ways to innovatively address child sexual abuse prevention. So I'm just, this bill, I look forward to sitting down with the governor and his staff and just kind of reviewing the history of this area, because there is no question child abuse generally and our programs are much different because of Governor Brown's leadership in the 80s. And I think child sexual abuse prevention is an area where we can have a similar growing edge as a legacy of his second time as governor. And so I'm just pleased to be here today. And I have here Fiona Lavelle from the Child Abuse Prevention Center testifying support.
Hi, thank you. Fiona Lavelle, Director of Statewide Policy with the Child Abuse Prevention Center. The CAP Center is a statewide nonprofit organization that works to prevent child abuse, and we do that by providing direct services, research, training to professionals, and coordinating multidisciplinary teams, including child abuse prevention councils and child death review teams. Thank you for the opportunity to be here to voice support for Assemblyman Cooley's AB 1883. The CAP Center is also proud to sponsor this bill, and I wanted to say a few words about why it's critical to have an innovative approach to this particular issue area. As Assemblyman Cooley said, the prevalence of child sexual abuse is staggering. 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys, according to the CDC, are sexually abused before age 18. And I know we can all think of 4 girls and 6 boys that we know in our lives and see how that really hits home. The CDC has also released studies confirming that as victims grow up, they are more likely to suffer from mental health issues like depression, high-risk health behaviors like substance abuse, and attempts to cope with that trauma. So in addition to the human costs, these types of behaviors lead to some of the most costly causes of disease and death in the United States, not to mention the resources that go into dealing with the aftermath of abuse through our courts, our law enforcement, and child protection agencies. So an investment in prevention in this area holds the best promise of addressing this epidemic. And as was mentioned, the state does take an aggressive approach to prosecuting offenders, mandating reporting for suspected abuse, and has increased funding recently for commercially sexually exploited children. But there is still an unmet need in terms of focusing on prevention, particularly in the area of sexual abuse, which remains largely a silent epidemic. In recent years, some really promising and innovative approaches like the Enough Abuse campaign have been championed in other states and adopted in some counties in California, which really provide a critical update to the sort of outdated approaches of stranger danger and kind of placing the responsibility for addressing child sexual abuse on the child victim, which is really, of course doesn't make sense. So today we're realizing much more effective and appropriate strategies that focus on adult and community responsibility for addressing the issue by training adults in all corners of a community to recognize and respond to the warning signs and the risk factors associated with child sexual abuse, which, as we know, is very different from recognizing the signs of physical abuse. The Enough Abuse campaign, for example, has demonstrated a significant drop in the incidence of child sexual abuse in the targeted areas where they've done these trainings, and also a significant shift in public attitudes among adults, those that work with children in youth-serving organizations, and others, just to sort of have a shared community responsibility for this issue. So AB 1883 is an opportunity for California to tap into some of this innovation, We are working to support this bill because it creates a 3-county pilot program overseen by DSS based on the agency's determination that the participating county has the significant incidences of at-risk youth, such as homeless youth, incidents of child abuse, incidents of child sexual abuse, and trafficked and sexually exploited minors. So we, for these reasons, encourage your aye vote, and the CAP Center once again is pleased to be here in support of 1883 and appreciate your time.
Thank you. Others in support? Please state your name and organization. There's a microphone right there. Yep.
American Academy of Pediatrics, Lydia Bourne, in support.
Thank you.
Susan Abrams with Children's Law Center of California, in support.
Thank you.
Andrew Langley on behalf of the San Diego County Board of Supervisors, in support. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone in opposition? Seeing none, any questions from the committee? Seeing none, I'll just make a brief comment. And last year we were focused on mandated reporters, co-authored a bill with Assemblymember Gatto, and I had a bill myself on for teachers particularly, and the training that they receive. And, you know, given the statistics that you're using, I would just hope that part of the pilot would really include adding training for our current mandated reporters, because the bill basically said modules had to be developed for teachers to actually take and renew their training around the issues of all child abuse. So I think there's just an opportunity there where you see all children going through our education system, that's a place where the training would have a tremendous effect.
Very good.
Yeah, thank you. Would you like to close?
Obviously, these are individuals who are sexually abused as children, have lifelong adverse effects. Female victims are at markedly increased risk of abuse in subsequent relationships. And for guys, it leads to criminality, committing violent crimes. Prevention is the low-cost alternative. And I will take your comment to heart as we move forward. I think part of the notion of these pilots 30 years ago and today is to take stock of what's there, what is the state of the law, what is the state of resources, and weave them together into new approaches. So your comment is very appropriate and timely. Thank you very much. I request an aye vote.
Thank you. And when we have our quorum, we'll go ahead and act on the bill.
Right.
We now go on to your second bill, AB 2597, item 20 on our agenda.
Very good. Greetings. Hello, welcome. Madam Chair and members, I'm here today to present AB 2597 relating to foster care resource family approval. California is starting statewide implementation of a new unified process of approving foster families called resource family approval, part and parcel of legislation that my colleague from Monterey Bay authored last year in concert with DSS that will apply to both relative and non-relative foster homes. By 2017, the only way to be approved as a new foster parent will be to go through RFA. Families already approved prior to January 2017 will have additional time to convert to the new RFA standards. While relatives are and should be held to the same high standards as non-relative foster parents and will be required to meet these new training requirements, it's important to take account of the very different way that relatives enter the foster care system. Non-relatives enter the system by deciding to become a foster family, followed by months of training, preparation, home approval, and then matching with a child. There's more run-up in time. Relatives, by contrast, enter the system in a crisis. A late-night phone call informing them that their grandchild, niece, or nephew has been detained by the Child Welfare Agency. So the RFA statutes don't really deal with this unique circumstance of your life is suddenly disrupted and you're in a foster relationship. To ensure that relative caregivers are not substantially impacted by the new requirements, this bill makes certain changes, clarifies that a relative who will need to rely on foster care payments to provide for the child's needs still meets the financial stability requirement for RFA. It allows child-specific approval for kinship caregivers to enable relatives to care for a child if in the child's best interest, even if the relative is not able or willing to be approved as a foster parent for all children. It ensures that the RFA is aligned with statutory provisions for immediate placement of children with relatives prior to home approval, and makes associated changes. The bill has no opposition and is supported by the Alliance for Children's Rights, Public Counsel, Children Now, and the John Burton Foundation, among others. And here to testify in support is Angie Schwartz from the Alliance for Children's Rights, and Sue Abrams, who will read the testimony of Marcy Valenzuela, a relative caregiver.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Angie Schwartz with the Alliance for Children's Rights. Relatives are the backbone of our foster care system. 36% of all youth are placed with a relative, and relatives are the most prevalent placement for older youth, ages 14 to 17. In reform efforts that are currently underway, we're going to be asking even more relatives to step up and provide homes so that we can move the 28% of youth that are in group homes into family placements. Against this backdrop, California is in the midst of statewide implementation of the new unified process of approving families called Resource Family Approval that will apply to both relatives and non-relative foster homes. Relatives will be substantially impacted by the new RFA process because they have to go through new risk assessment, psychosocial assessment, and training requirements that they haven't had to meet previously. As Assemblymember Cooley said, the RFA process does and should hold relatives to the same high standards as non-relatives. However, it's important that that process also accurately account for the unique value that relatives bring to our foster children, a connection to their community, their culture, their family, and a nurturing relationship. That's the same value that makes relatives so important to our system as a whole, and the reason that both federal and state law require us to prefer relative placements. If the RFA process does not account for the significance of that relationship, we run the risk of creating a system that does not value the very placements that we know from countless studies and from firsthand knowledge lead to the greatest placement stability, reduced trauma, and better outcomes for children. As Assemblymember Cooley noted, relatives are also the placements from which we ask the most. Because of that unique way that they come to our system in a moment of crisis, they tend to be taking children immediately on an emergency basis. And what that means is they're working to get approved after the fact, while simultaneously responding to the needs of the traumatized children that are already living in their home. And they're doing that without any financial support because the statute says until they're fully approved, they don't get the benefit of foster care payments, which means in those initial months, and it can take months to get approved as a resource family, they're providing for the child's care. They're bringing their home into compliance, and they're often foregoing paid employment without the support of foster care payments. The RFA statutes were written a decade ago, and they weren't designed with these unique circumstances of relatives in mind. It's critical we amend the RFA statute to support families financially who have taken in children on an emergency basis while they work to get fully approved, and that we amend it to provide for explicit consideration of the pre-existing relationship between a relative and a child. By making these changes, we'll ensure that resource family approval works for our relatives and, by extension, works for our child welfare system, which is counting on them to provide loving homes to our state's foster children. We urge your aye vote.
Thank you very much. Next witness.
Hi, my name is Susan Abrams. I'm the policy director with Children's Law Center of California, and we represent approximately 32,000 children in foster care in Los Angeles and Sacramento County. CLC strongly supports AB 2597 for the reasons stated by Ms. Schwartz. A former foster youth who works with us as a peer advocate was set to testify here today, and she was unable to be here because of flight issues, so she asked that I share her statement. Hello, my name is Marcelina Valenzuela, and I am the current guardian of my 17-year-old sister and 13-year-old brother. My 3 younger siblings re-entered the foster care system for the 4th time in August 2012. They were first placed with my older sister, but she had to soon give them up to the child welfare department because she could no longer care for them. They went into a foster home and immediately got separated. At the time, I was 24 years old. When I found out they were going back into foster care, I asked for them to be placed in my home. However, in the beginning, the social workers wouldn't even consider my home for a number of reasons. I was told I was too young. There were allegations that I had used drugs when I was younger. I had a juvenile probation history. I grew up in foster care myself and didn't have enough stability. I only had a part-time job. I was trying to get myself through college, and I lived in Section 8 housing in South Central. I guess it appeared that I wasn't an ideal placement for kids in foster care. However, my siblings and I kept pushing. I fought for 3 long months to get them. Finally, in November 2012, I was able to get my sisters and then fought for another year to get my brother. 3 months might not seem that long, but to have your only support system torn from you and separated from your siblings, it's 90 unbearable nights. It's been 4 years now, and my sister and brother are thriving in my care. My brother went from an F student to an AB student. My sister is in AP classes, involved in community service, and plays sports. They are both in college readiness programs and are involved in foster care advocacy themselves. While they've been in my care, I have been able to graduate community college and now have a full-time job. We moved into a home in Whittier. We have stability now. I am here today because I want to make sure that with the new restrictions on placements, other relatives are not denied simply because they don't seem ideal. Even though I might not have seemed like an ideal placement for a foster child, I was the best placement for my siblings, and I still am today.
Thank you very much. Others in support? Please state your name and organization. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Carol Ramirez. I'm with the Lilliput Children's Services. We've been doing kinship care for 25 years, adoptions, guardianship, kinship support services, and I support this bill and specifically the ability to be able to assess for child-specific approvals for relatives. Relationship does matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Name and organization, please.
I'm just a mother. I'm Jeanette Barrett. I adopted my 5 not siblings, but I'm the great aunt. And it took me 4 years to finally adopt them.
Okay, we can't take testimony now. Okay. Mike, you're in support. I appreciate that. Thank you.
It's the support. Thank you.
Thank you. Name and organization and support.
My name is Linda Layton. I have for 11 years been a kin guardian. I'm also the kin liaison for Lilliput organization, and I support this bill.
Thank you. Name and support, please.
Hi, Stewart, Linda Layton's granddaughter, and I am in support.
Perfect. Good job. Okay, next.
Don Kearney, and we're in support, too.
Thank you.
Jackie Ruthheiser with the California Alliance of Child and Family Services, representing 120 nationally accredited agencies. Work a lot with Angie. It's a fantastic bill, and we support.
Thank you.
Susanna Niffen with Children Now in support.
Martha Matthews, Public Counsel Children's Rights Project in support.
Thank you.
And Kim Lewis with Aspiranet in support. Thank you.
Kevin Aslan, Coalition California Welfare Rights Organization in support.
Thank you so much. Anyone in opposition? Seeing none. Any questions from the committee? Seeing none, would you like to close?
Well, I just thank you. This is the one bill that comes out of the Select Committee on Foster Care, which I chair. My practice is to meet with the stakeholders throughout the year, identifying the next big area where we should work. We know that there's a great deal of work happening in the foster care area generally at DSS. This bill is a setting in which the relative caregivers are able to have their own conversation about what rules will work, and we anticipate this being a part of the broader conversation as the bill moves forward.
Thank you very much. We'll take action when we have a quorum, and could we try to achieve a quorum and get the members here? Mrs. Olson, thank you very much for waiting.